What's up, you fucking rockets? Welcome back to Cinematic Calamity. So glad to have you here. Sorry it's been so long. I took a bit of a break, like 2 or so years. Whatever. Life, it happens. Things are going on. I got a lot of stuff going on in my life. But I'm happy to be back, and we got some episodes lined up for you now. They're going to keep on coming, and even if I don't have a guest, I'm going to record one myself. We've upgraded some of the stuff we have here. I got new lights that I'm testing out for the first time. They're looking pretty good. I'm really happy with them. And we got a great episode for you. Today we're interviewing a really good friend of mine. His name is Kareem Hassanien. I met him originally when I worked on cruise ships. We met on our first contract together. We get into a little bit of that stuff. But Kareem is a content producer. He's going to give you his full title in the episode. I have a bad memory, man. I wish I could remember people's full titles. I don't remember my own title. I think I do lighting. I'm not sure. But I'm really happy I got him on. Like I said, we filmed this a while ago, like 2 years ago at this point, almost. But it's a really great episode. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think we covered some really good ground, and Kareem got to tell some fun stories from his time on set. We got to tell a couple stories from our time on set together, which is always a blast. I always love working with Kareem. It's a fun time. And I think you guys are going to really like this episode. Like I said, it's been a little while, but we're back in the game, baby. Just a couple notes about this episode. There are a couple very small audio issues that I was working on, and I think I've got pretty much as I can fixed, but, we're still moving forward. Also, at a certain point, one of the cameras goes out, and we just continue on with the single camera. You'll notice at the beginning of the episode it goes back and forth between a couple angles, and then at a certain point it just kind of sticks with the one wide angle lens. I'm happy with it though. It looks good, and I'm happy that this show has an evolution. It's not just all set up, ready to go, the first episode or the first 4 episodes, the first season, if you want to call it. I'm kind of considering this the start of my second season. I'm excited to keep bringing new things. Like I said, new lights are up. We're going to continue looking at audio and camera options and keep moving forward. And I'm going to keep trying to get awesome guests. I think the first couple that we've had and the ones that are coming up were pretty great. So I'm really glad you guys are here. I think you're going to love this episode. Please check out Kareem Hassanien on Cinematic Calamity. What's up, you fucking rockets? Thank you so much for being here. I don't have my notes in front of me.
Now I do.
Professional.
There we go.
Professional.
What's up, you fucking rockets? Please welcome Kareem Hassanien.
Hello. Yes. Hi. That's me.
This is going to be an exciting one. I forgot to remind him that it's video as well. So Kareem's a little.
I didn't dress for this.
He did not dress.
But there are rose petals all around the room.
Yes, I just came directly from work,
which creeped me out when I got here.
I'm smelling pretty great as well. Well, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Don't look directly into my eyes.
I will do my best not to.
No,
sure, no worries. Man. Good, man. Good.
These beautiful blues. You kidding me?
This is going to be a fun one, folks. So I guess the quick intro we should give. We met going on 15 years ago now.
I don't count.
Yeah, you don't count how long it's been. But we met on cruise ships where I was a videographer and you were photog.
Originally, yeah.
And since that time, we've occasionally played together on set. But we'll get into it right away with what is your current job title?
I don't know. I'm whatever you need me to be. I'm a lot of things to a lot of people. No, basically, I think my title is it's executive producer and strategist at Swell Content, which is a content studio that I run. It's like all ad commercials, that kind of, that stuff.
Yeah. So then it's a 2-part question, this next one.
Yeah.
Because of the...
I'm looking at my title.
I thought for a second you were going to pull out business cards, which would have been even funnier. Yeah.
Digital
business cards. Okay, so then we'll do this, like I said, in two parts. What is a typical day of work for you, and what's a typical day when you are on set for you?
Oh, God.
Well, you can pick one of the two. But...
Okay, I'm glad you have your questions there because I will very much refer to them. Senior Content Marketing Strategist and Producer. I've had a lot of titles recently.
Is that your
title changes?
Is that your LinkedIn or your Twitter?
LinkedIn. Executive Producer, Content and Strategy. That's it. Just, hey, here, I just did a podcast on live chat with Marcos Bravo. You should just take that. Cut that and put that in here.
Is it going to be word for word we're talking the same thing?
No, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I'll see. If I'll be, I don't know. What is a typical day on set at work like? Okay, well, a typical day at work is very different for me because most of my time these days is spent convincing people of why social media actually can work for them, because basically right now there's a lot of dinosaurs in the world, and my job is to be a dinosaur trainer, right? And here is how to help you understand how to not put a TV spot on a TikTok. It doesn't work like that. That's not how things work. So that's a big part of my day. That's not a slam to any of my clients who are surely listening to this or hope.
I was going to give you a bit of a heads up on that one as well.
No, it's fine. No, I mean, I'm very lucky. I've got, my company, we embed with marketing teams. So we'll actually join a company and consult and help them build the whole content strategy up and down. So they're not just throwing stuff into the wind and not have the video not go anywhere. So true. I'm lucky because I kind of separate the clients that I tend to work with are already interested in actually doing good creative content for the most part. So that's how I can get out of them feeling like I slammed them off the top. No, but it's true. I do work with some pretty cool clients who are open to a lot of creative content and how it works, but the issues when I'm pitching a lot of the time is that and with a lot of Canadian brands in general right now, because realistically Canadian brands for the most part are working with 20% of the budget of their global brands, right? So if you're okay, I was going to give an example, and then I'm don't mention any brands. But anyways, smart. But they'll be working with 20% typically of what the global brand is, but you have to match what the global spot and global commercial looks like, which so there's a lot of problem solving in my job. So that's typically what my day looks like, is problem solving and figuring out how to make a flower grow out of a pot of dirt. You know what I mean? Figure out how to make something look pretty when you have less resources. That's become my kind of go-to, my MO. I'm kind of the Swiss Army knife of content. And that goes for not just brands, but we work with a lot of publishers, content publishers as well. So you're, I don't, again, do I name them? I don't know. Does it matter? But, big science publishers, one of the world's biggest, science content publishers, one of the world's biggest, general interest news. I don't know, whatever. But people who actually put stuff out and make things, and that's how they make their money, instead of brands who are they make things and then they go to buy it, or do everything we make is you should buy this, and that's the issue on social media, which we can get into later. And then typical day at set, I don't know what that I've directed for many years now, and I shoot as well. I kind of came through that ranks, and that's how we connected originally.
Okay, then okay, I guess then I'll go, because I do want to stick with the film set and on set.
Right.
What's your favorite part about being on set? I guess what's your favorite job that you do when you're on set? As you do have multi-hats. I've been on sets where you're producing, directing, you're behind the camera, and other than me flicking on lights for you, you're pretty much doing it all. Is there...
That's nice of you to say. I don't... Yeah. I don't agree. But yeah, it's true. Yeah.
um,
I'm very grateful when you're on set. So what was the question? It's like, is that good? Is that fun?
I mean, if you want to answer that,
no,
but I guess more than anything, when you are on set,
mm-hmm.
do you like directing? Do you prefer being behind the camera and being completely in charge of that image?
Yeah.
Do you? Okay. I mean, I guess altogether you do all those things. But if you were to one day go, hey, I don't want to have 50 hats on today. I just want to take a day and focus on one part of this job. Is there one part that you would choose?
Yeah. Good question. Honestly, these days I'm more like so this quick answer before I give the long answer, as tends to be my way, is like I like being the storyteller. So directing and writing are definitely my favorite elements of that job and kind of shaping the look. But I've come to realize so much over the course of the years and all of the DPs and different everybody, gaffers, makeup, like it does not matter like what the role is, but I'm always more grateful when I have those like other professionals there that can contribute their own voice,
for sure,
as opposed to just having my own. I like to be like a collaborative person, and that's kind of one of the hard things that now I have less of sometimes when I'm in the ad world, because in the ad world or in the business world, it's very like not everybody is working necessarily for the greater good of the company. A lot of the time it's like, I just gotta appease that guy in the office above me, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, so sure. I don't care what it feels like, looks like, but like what I love about being on set is everybody there is working to push the ball forward to the best of their ability, and that is built into their incentives because that's how you get more work.
Yes.
And so it's like a really passionate, collaborative, fun experience, and everybody tries to bring their best ideas, and nobody's ever kind of going halfway. I mean, yes, people half-ass like certain things, like on they're lifting a lot of shit that I can get, that I get. But I mean, in terms of what it actually looks like at the end point and the final output, everybody's putting as much as they can into it. And so when I'm directing, I think that's my favorite thing, is just watching how much people kind of give to this overall project, and that I get to kind of help. Like, I feel like my style of directing, at least, is very collaborative and very much like kind of, mentorship. Like, I go like, this is where I want to go, these are the things that I want to do, and show me what that looks like to you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll explain it as best as I can, what I kind of want to see, and like, yeah, I'll definitely change things up if I'm not getting to the place that I want to be. But for the most part, what I like to do is go, okay, here's the canvas, but you pick the paints,
Fair.
And then we just see kind of what the end picture looks like. So that I think that's kind of my favorite side of the job, is like how. And then the other element to that has led me in the directions that I have been lately is having the understanding of where these products, or where like the thing is going to land, and yes. So like the for me, it's always important to make sure that I think in everything I do, not just comedy or not just film, but comedy and like all of the like marketing, all of it, my focus has always been on the end audience, right? And like who I'm speaking to and trying to relate to the person who's actually going to be engaging with it.
Yes. And
that's always meant the most to me, and that's probably because I have a lot of issues from my childhood. Like, really? Like,
that's why do you think most of us get into this business? I feel like in a lot of ways,
it's probably just
because
wanted to
play in Wonderland forever.
For sure. I mean, I grew up in like a small town where you were white or you were me. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of the time, people have a bunch of assumptions about me. So I think I grew up with this, like, trying to play to the audience, trying to play to the other person, and trying to understand where they're coming from and shaping my communication around that. And so I think that's, literally somehow built into, how I approach comedy, how I approach filmmaking. It's like, how do I get my idea across and shape it in a way that it's going to mean the most to you?
What got you started in the business?
I don't even know. I don't know. Like, it's hard to even like understand how I am in this business. Like, in terms of getting started, I mean,
Yeah.
I still don't necessarily feel like I'm started. Like I don't think I ever will.
No, me neither, to be honest.
Right? Like you never feel like you're at the top of anything. You just feel like you're still doing it, and getting a chance to do it is the thing that's exciting. But when you're not doing it, you're like, or when you're like every day you're not shooting, you're going like, oh man, right? Now that's a little bit different because there's so much on the, especially after like during the pandemic, it was tough for me to see a lot of the creatives, a lot of like the directors, a lot of the DPs that like I work with like just had to stop because sets stopped. Of course,
yeah.
But strategy, like basically every client I work with was like, we need a completely new plan and then like, change everything. So I was still working while watching all of the people that I really, love and admire, like not as much. And so I was trying to keep like folks afloat and things like, but like it was pretty tricky. And so, again, it kind of goes back to that feeling of like you never feel like you've really made anything. Like you always feel it's start and stop. Like this business is completely start and stop, and it's very like, what have you done for me lately? But I guess in terms of like starting, I don't know. Like I came up it's completely different now. It's completely different for like if you're a kid or like you're somebody new trying to get into the business. It's like just you can actually just go create, content, and then somebody will say you're a content person, you know what I mean, or a content creator, and it can be on your phone. But like I came up in days where you're like, I was PAing for years, and then like production, like I was a production assistant, so putting garbages in the garbage bags on set, and then I was like a VTR, so helping with like Video Village and making sure directors and DPs and everyone like everybody could see everything that was going on the monitors. And then I was a camera assistant, and just I was still like I actually came up as a camera assistant in days where you were actually loading film. That's sad. When I realized that, like I was like, I was still loading film cases in black, in the back of a truck. And then and then Clapper and all that. Yeah, I like did that kind of step by step, but then I also did a few jumps forward. So like when we went, when we were shooting stuff kind of around the world, I would always come back and leverage that footage to shoot something better, right? That's right. So I got to skip a few. I do feel like I got to skip a few steps here and there, because I could always go like, well, I mean that that company or those companies were a set of companies were like, they were kind of my first corporate clients, right? And so I did a bunch of corporate shoots for them after I left, and then I could take that footage and take those stories and say, well, I just did this for these companies and all these different travel companies, and started pitching to them, and then started doing more brand work and spring break shoots and weird stuff like that. And then like I always just kind of kept the ball rolling from there. So I guess that's sort of my path, I guess. But I also filmed a documentary out of school in the Middle East. I just keep putting a camera in front of me and then hoping that like something that I make out of it will get me the next little thing. And I think that's how most directors see it. They're like, we're just gonna keep trying to make different things and see who buys that weird thing and who keeps paying that bill,
getting to use different equipment, different try and make new ideas,
different parts of your brain.
For sure, absolutely.
Is this funny yet? Am I being funny? Like, this is serious. I feel like I'm being serious.
The first one I did on my own, I was pretty serious. I was hoping that as time goes on and more I get more comics on the show, we can throw a little more levity into the thing.
Yeah.
But I think I'm
like,
I don't know if I'm too focused on the cinematic side of things and the like film stuff.
I'm taking your lead. I'm giving genuine answers, and I'll try and throw as many dick jokes as I can down the road where you like them.
I appreciate that, pal. That's all I'm really looking for.
Good.
You know.
Yeah.
So you did Cinematic Calamity, the comedy show, the very first one that I did in September 2020.
Wow.
And
That's right.
your story is one you had told me many years ago. Probably you told me when we first worked on cruise ships, if that times out properly. It's the famous Hayden Christensen.
Okay, yeah. I was like, which story did I tell?
Yeah,
I can't remember which one I did.
You told the Hayden Christensen story. I wanted to actually, like, I could show some of the clips if you're okay with it. If you want to retell the story, you can.
Warm crowd, I love you. Good start, hot start. Happy to be here. Do we have film people in the audience? You guys must like film, right? You know, okay, one. We've got one dude. The rest of you are just confused. Like,
I'm giving you kind of an open platform. Your best on-set stories. You want to do that
I've
one?
got a
I'm
lot
cool
of
with that.
them, yeah.
Whichever one you want to do.
So the Hayden Christensen one, let's just start with that. Like,
Go for it.
So that one was, so I was on the set of the film Jumper with Hayden Christensen and it was the Rachel McAdams, right?
Yes,
Canadian.
that's the other one.
Yeah. So I was VTR, so most of my time was in the truck. You know what I mean? Like, I was basically running like cables, and in those days, like, you didn't even have. It bugs me when I think now about like how easy this job is. Like, there's just, I don't want to take anything away from good VTR people. There's still a lot of work involved, but like, you know, there's wireless now. You know what I mean? And flat panel.
However, I will say, if a wireless goes down, it's
a nightmare.
Chaos.
Yeah, that's true. True.
It gets bananas very quickly.
Yeah, but like, you know, there's just the fact that there's flat panel.
Yeah.
Like, I had, like, you know, I was still carrying like CRT monitors everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm running cables, you know, whatever, and this was while we were all in studio, and you know, this is Hayden Christensen, you know, right after his, you know, peak Star Wars days, right? Yes. This is his, you know, first film kind of right after Return of the Jedi, or Revenge of the Sith. How embarrassing. Cut that. Anyways, that's not like me. I told you, it's been a long day. So anyways, very excited to be there, but it's all in studio. It's all on green screen. Hayden's been up on the ropes all day.
He's doing a stunt.
He's doing stunts. Yeah. He's like, you know, it's, if you see the movie, there's a lot of effects, right?
Yes.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't know how those effects hold up. I'm gonna say not good. And then, like, anyway, I don't know. It was, you know, it was a long time ago. So but he was tired. Let's just say that. I don't want to like slam this man. I'm sure he's a fine man. You know what I mean? But he was up. He was tired of being up there. I understand that. I would be tired of being hung up there as well for hours at a time too, with, like, you know, the harness, you know, crunching your nuts. It's not an easy.
Stunts take a lot out of the day for everyone. And having your main actor as the person doing the stunts is, everybody has to be so much more careful. There's way more steps that you take than normal, and he's.
That's why most guys don't do their own stunts.
Exactly.
You know,
if he's the star, he's also been kind of burning the candle at both ends, working really hard, and understandably, I'm sure everybody on that shoot was a little tired, a little frustrated.
And this was barely like a stunt either. Like, you know, I mean, it was like he was just hanging there for millions of takes. Not millions, it's an exaggeration. I think it was Doug. Who was the director? Doug Lyman? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So he's hung up there. He's ready to get down, and we are way behind.
He's starting to fight with the director, and he's trying to say, like, they're way behind, and he's like, get me off set, I'm done for today, and they're having that argument, and that's around the time someone comes to me and says, hey, Kareem, you don't need to be seeing this fight, can you go get the fucking monitor, please? So I go out to get a monitor. There's only one door in and out of the studio where this is happening. So, this next part, I didn't see physically, but this is what I heard, is they started having like a full-out brawl, right? And they really wanted, like Hayden really wanted to come down, and he did not want to shoot anymore. I'm on the other side, and this is the days where the monitors aren't like nice, light, like skinny monitors. We're talking like cubes, like fat monitors, right? So I'm like, you know, kid trying to bring in this monitor. I'm waiting for the red light, because the red light, that's when it tells you, when that's off, I can enter through that one door, right?
So he kept saying, in a direct way, get me down. I will not, I won't use the same language.
If you'd like to.
I mean, I'll use it for my part. But
Yeah.
anyways, so he had, let's just say he had been ornery for a good...
Ornery is a good term.
Ornery is an ornery. He had... like an alligator. So they pull him down, and on the, like, in the studio, there's only one door that goes in and out of this studio, right? And I am on the other side of the door. Now, when you're filming, there's a little light that says, you know, we're rolling, right? Or recording, right? And so you wait for that red light to go on and off to know when you can go through that door, because obviously a lot of people kind of are passing through that door between cuts. So I'm on the other side with a big stupid CRT monitor waiting to go through the door. Little do I know what is happening on the other side, where there's an ornery individual being asked to go to his trailer.
Huge fight going on. They bring Hayden down. He's walking off the set, storming off the set. He's pissed, right? And some guy was really watching this very closely, and that guy was the guy who flips the light, right? So the guy who flips the light, I don't know who the fuck that guy is, but he can go fuck himself, because he was not paying attention, and then he realized the perfect time to flip the light to say that you could come through that door was right when Hayden Christensen was storming off set. So here comes old Remy with the cube, and we right into Hayden Christensen, knocks him flat on his ass, right?
They pull Hayden down. He is storming off set, like he's just over it. I'm on the other side of the door. The light goes off. I go barreling through that door right into Hayden. He gets knocked flat down on his, on his ass.
In front of everybody as he's storming out. The entire set is watching that scenario, and I just knocked him flat down. And, my first instinct, of course, is like, oh my God, hold on to the monitor. You don't want the monitor to drop. That's my job. But once I see it's Hayden Christensen, the star of the film Jumper and no other films, I was like, oh my God, right? Like, so I drop the monitor anyways, and I go to help Hayden.
And I'm sorry, Hayden, if you're hearing this. I hope Mark has great listenership, but not to you. Anyway, so falls on his ass, and I'm a young kid at this point. I'm like, in my early 20s, and I move the monitor, and I'm like, oh no, oh my God, the whole place is dead silent, right? Like, it just like record scratch, like, I put down the monitor, and I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? Like, sorry, sir. And he's just like, oh, it's okay, I didn't look at the light, I wasn't paying attention, that's my fault. Like, and he apologized to me, right? And he was the nicest. Well, he was ornery, but anyways, he ran out, and I'm still stuck there, and nobody is saying a word. And I have to pick up this monitor that I basically dropped as well. Like, I didn't treat the monitor great, or the star of the movie. So I am carrying this monitor quietly on like a silent set that just watched this happen. You can see people kind of like scared, but also grinning a bit. And you always got to leave it to like the surly rigger up on like he's way up, like working on some fixture or whatever, and just like this old surly dude, like Teamster guy, who just like leans over and goes,
"You just struck down Darth Vader, dude!" The entire place erupts. People are high-fiving me and shit, and I'm like, should Hayden see this? Like, it was a time.
and the whole place lights up, just starts cracking up, including, I don't want to say the other stars, and I don't want to create beef with Hayden and anyone. So like,
There's no beef, man. It's a fun story.
It was, I mean, I honestly, I felt pretty good about that for a second. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, I did just knock down Darth Vader, but then I went and hid in a truck for like 2 days. Yes. You know what I mean? I was like,
which is the smart move
to humans honest. Or seeing anybody lunch. I'm just gonna take it, eat it in the truck. Like I don't want anybody to remember that I exist or did this. But it was fun.
What a time to be alive, folks! I tell you, it was that's how I like to close all my jokes. By the way, what a time to be alive! Oh, especially these days. Oh boy.
I guess it's two shooting days we had. We did the one day doing the beer company that has a fridge. Okay. We'll call it Molson Canadian. Sure. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Because we don't say anything bad about them, I don't think.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what you think is funny from those days.
From those days. It was that, and then we did another one at the mall, which was a very ridiculous day.
The mall was good. Yeah.
So the Molson Canadian...
Said it, yeah.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
We're in it now.
We're in it. That commercial, the opportunity was brought up by a DP that I worked with named Jesse. Jesse Blight, very great guy. And
Yannick, great guy.
Yes, Yannick was his partner in crime on that one. And I had done a couple days with Jesse earlier on. A friend of mine who was a makeup artist got me in contact with him. And we did one day where we, it was a early start, but we got done relatively early, and at one point during the day Jesse had given me a 5 for fixing a problem, and that was the first time like a DP like gave me a 5, gave me any kind of encouragement.
Yeah.
And it was really one of those, because I had been doing a lot of union stuff, and it was a lot of like when the rookie hits his first home run, like they don't high five him, they're just like, this is what you should be doing, get back to work kind of thing.
Right.
And Jesse's like, buddy, awesome, and gives me a 5. And I remember for like an hour I was like, I fucking did it, I got it, nailed it.
This, yeah.
So I was excited to work with him again, and they were looking for one other camera assistant, and I threw your name into the hat, and and
I don't think they were happy about it. No, we were good. No. We had a fun time. We liked each other a lot.
We got asked back, so I don't see why that would be the case.
I feel like
that one died.
Camera went down.
All right, we'll get that one going again if we can.
Who's the other? I mean,
can't remember her name, but
I have. Yeah, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Cheryl was a great camera assistant.
Okay, battery. Anyways. We're just going to keep this one rolling.
On the GoPro?
GoPro's fine. That one, battery's like toast, so I'm not going to worry about it. So yeah, well, we were talking about Cheryl anyways, but
yeah. I don't know if they were like it wasn't that they weren't happy with me. I think they liked me very much as a person, but Cheryl was the other Cheryl, I can't remember her last name, but anyway, she was like the other AC, and there's no question she was much better. Like, she did it for years after. I think that's why I became a director in some ways. I'm like, she was just more on it, where I was the guy, I'm like, let me check the codecs of this on my phone. You know what I mean? Like,
to be fair,
we all got along very well.
To be fair, I was the same way with Brianna that we worked with on that as well. I feel like she was ahead of me in the grip world.
Right.
And I was kind of the swing that day, so any grip stuff I was kind of noob on, and had just been so focused on lights for that like past year that like just didn't remember how to do a grip stand properly, and just the little etiquette stuff, and
that's part of the job, you know.
Totally.
Like the other thing, you know, I always respected like the people on set who, when they didn't know something, didn't try to like just make it up or bullshit it, or I'm gonna figure it out right now, and then it takes you you're waiting like 30 minutes while they try to figure this thing
Yeah,
out, as
absolutely.
opposed to just going to the person who has that
knowledge,
info.
yeah.
And like I was fine. Like everything, like I'm probably exaggerating. Everything went fine, but like she was really good. Like I just always remember her being like sharp, and I'd worked with her a few times since on other sets where she's still, operating or ACing, and she was like top drawer,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. The first part of that, well, I guess the funnest part of that shoot was 2 days before when they asked us to come by and empty out a few of the bottles that were going to be in the fridge, which was
the best part.
That really was the best part of the entire shoot. And then 2 days later, we took full advantage of that. I think we were
we closed down the shop.
Yeah. We really won that one. If they were counting who had the most bottle caps in their pocket, I think.
They had to close out and get all of the booze out of the fridge, and then like because we had to place the bottles back in empty,
tape them down because we were going to be moving it around all over the place.
So they needed a couple 2-4s polished off. And this is like the night or 2 nights before the shoot?
2 nights before. They were smart putting it 2 nights before because there's no way I would have made it.
Everybody else came, they had a beer. That's like nice to meet the crew before the shoot. And then like we were just like, we'll help. We will fix this problem.
This is our day. This
problem
is our job.
Solvers. Give us 30 of these beers.
And so morning of, we go to move the fridge, Jesse and I, and they built it for the wrong type of forklift, or not forklift, like pump truck.
Right, yeah.
And so first thing in the morning, Jesse's already stressing because they now have to hire their own moving company to do it all day. They have to, they had to go buy a new pump truck.
Yeah.
Which wasn't in the budget, obviously. They,
a lot of problem solving.
It was a lot of problem solving, and I think by like halfway through the day, it felt like, all right, we have this moving guy, and it's really like, other than having 4 people push it through rough terrain, the most important thing was getting it onto trucks safely and getting it to each location. Because also inside was the computer.
Yeah, that's the other. Yeah, exactly.
There was a computer inside so that when people. Basically, the premise of the commercial was people would walk up to this fridge. It was supposed to look like, oh, this fridge just in the middle of the street. I guess
you scan your passport.
No, this one was Single Canada.
Oh, you Single Canada.
It was
that's
Single
right.
Canada into it,
and it was all like, it was.
And everybody who sang it, sang very off key, and that was the whole thing. Is you had to sing it on key in order to get it, and so they found a way to bypass it, but the bypass maybe worked once.
Yeah. That's the thing. They put so much effort into the programming of this, so the thing would open naturally after you sang, right? And so like it's analyzing voices and stuff. But then like they were testing it in like in studios and things like that, right? We were shooting out in the middle of like Toronto, like there's traffic, there's people.
We were on King Street. We were in Liberty Village. We went to a forest in Mississauga, and that was the dumbest one.
Yeah.
Because it took us forever to get in fact, it ended up being the first shot, us pushing the fridge into the middle of the forest.
Yeah.
And then.
So the fridge couldn't go sideways. It couldn't it had to be like really steady, carry it. But like really at the end of the day, we could have just done it with like somebody that had like a trap hitch just opened it up after somebody started singing. You know what I mean? Like it could have just worked.
We did end up
just as
faking it, I think, on every single one.
For sure, we'd have to cut in, but like and that's not a slam to the programmer. It was just like.
It's one of those weird
one of those
situations,
things when you get into the field it's not going to work like you plan. Like every commercial I've ever been on since, or everything I've ever worked on since, it's the same. It's mostly problem solving, but they tried to work so hard on it up front, and I felt so bad for those people because they worked so hard, and then just in situ it was tough.
It wasn't
tough
working,
on them.
yeah, for sure.
Was that the funniness of that story? because that was sad. That was a sad moment. No, I'm just kidding. It was all right.
In hindsight, it's funny to me because it was. I went from being
At least it was
grip gaff swing to literally fridge pusher for the first half of the day. Really, I think I held like a fill at one point, and that's about it. Otherwise, it was mostly me making sure the fridge was in the right spot. And I think the funniest part was all the characters that wanted to come up to the fridge and sing to it, and the wedding party was still the funniest one to me.
Wow, you have such a good memory of this. I mean, yeah, that's amazing.
There was a wedding party that showed up, and I knew the photographer of the wedding.
No kidding.
And that's how the conversation started, and it was like, right away, Yannick and Jesse were like, we have to make this work for them kind of thing. I think we did like 4 takes with them, and then they're like, we have to go. It's our fucking wedding day.
Yeah.
So there's the laugh. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
And then we did that SC, whatever that one's, the student pricing cards or whatever they are, commercial for them at a Blue Notes in a mall. And the nutty part of that day was I came to your place to get picked up, and the girl that was meant to pick us up was like 45 minutes late.
Right.
She was the wardrobe
I can't
girl.
believe you remember these. So this is like 12 years ago.
I was stressed because back then I was so stressed about these things.
Right, yeah.
Like, to me, if this didn't work, then I'm not going to work again, kind of thing. I always took it on.
Totally.
Even like I talked about it on the first podcast I recorded, Nightmare Alley, that whole show, I think, is the worst anxiety I've ever had.
Really?
Because the whole time I was like, this is Guillermo del Toro. Bradley Cooper's there.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman had a conversation with me.
So you still get a little starstruck, a little bit.
After that one, I think I'm okay.
Right.
After that one, it's like I've been through the fire. Like, that's it. I've seen the devil. So I
feel like now I've worked with enough kind of like celebrity people that like I just kind of, I mean, they're called celebrities. That I'm like, it's not that I'm not, like, I still want to do well, but now I think I realize how much of their life is spent just like waiting for the camera to turn on, like where they're just like, I know, like they realize that every set is full of problems. You know what I mean? So I think I'm a little more patient now.
I think for me, it's not like starstruck, or it wasn't on that one. It was more just like, this is the biggest thing you've worked on.
For sure.
And fucking up on this one means, again, but at this point now, like, I know I can fuck up and probably get away with it.
Totally. That's big sets. That's why being on big sets is good.
Yeah, that's why you get in a union, to be honest. But
there's somebody above you that's going to take the heat for you first,
Absolutely.
9 times out of 10. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, well, do you have any other stories you want to tell? Otherwise, goals,
that's it. You know,
goals or projects you want to talk about? Anything upcoming?
Or I don't know. That's all serious. I'll tell the bear story.
Yeah, bear. I don't know if I remember it, but let's go bear story.
I got for my first time working on set with a bear was it was a celebrity bear too. So not non-Paddington.
No.
That's my favorite bear. So I was like, I got a call. It was like the night before the shoot. They were like, "Oh, hey, we're missing a." I can't remember if I was. I think I was. I don't know if I was. I think I was just PAing or maybe part of the camera team. I can't really remember. No, I was part of the camera team, I think. Anyways, doesn't matter. But I get to set. It's an office building, so it just looks like a normal office. So we're just unloading the camera cube. Like, nobody's like this, dicking around at the craft truck. And then we get this like call over our walkies that says everybody has to get to set right now for an emergency safety briefing. And we're like, okay, that's a little much. We've all been at safety briefings, fine, but like every single person has to be there. Okay, so we all get there. They're handing out call sheets, and it's like we all had our call sheets already. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then I turned it over and it said bear safety training. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, because it's a normal office, so like it just looks like a normal office. I'm like, So this is something you never want to hear your director say, like, hello, everybody, good morning. All right, let's bring in the bears. Let's start wheeling in the bears. And I'm like, we haven't had the training yet. Like, we haven't started. You have to fill us in a little more before we bring in the bears. So they back up a truck, and there's, you can hear like in the truck, and it's very big. It's very, very, very big trailer. I mean, it would have to be. Yes. And then so they open it up, and they just taped off, like caution tape, a little space. And put a little piece of paper up that said, "This is the bear's space." I'm like, I think the bear's gonna dictate what the bear's space is, like where the bear wants to go. And they threw it a chicken. This is before the training. Like, not a live chicken. It was like just a full, like a frozen chicken.
Yes.
Like Thanksgiving. And it just ate the chicken, just like kind of pounding a little bit on the trailer, and just kind of sat there like a funny grizzly bear. And its trainer came around, and its trainer was maybe about 90, right? Like, she was like an 80-something-year-old woman with a walker, and she's like, this was the bear from Anchorman. And I'm like, I don't need the bear's credits. Like, what is the bear gonna do at this point? So we, they give us the training and say, like, this bear is trained, but you can't do a lot of things around it or make like a lot of sudden moves, and the trainer is going to give it all its cues. And so basically the premise of the commercial is for a sports company, and it was like, can't get your mind off of sports. And then there's a bear in a Chicago Bears jersey.
Nice. That's
like going, ah, right? And then, which to me, if I can't get my mind off of sports, I think of the sport. I don't think of the mascot. You know what I mean? Like, who goes like, oh man, sports, Dolphins. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, but I'm not the copywriter on this.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we're shooting, and while we're shooting, the Bears jersey, they had to custom make this jersey for the bear, and the bear kept leaning forward, and the Velcro on the back of the jersey would fall off.
Yeah.
And so, like, the thing would fall off, and I was always where I was positioned closest to where the bear is from camera. So there was a lot of like, hey, can you just swing behind and just put the like, and I'm like, no, I don't know that I can. I don't know that I'm qualified. Isn't that what wardrobe is for? You know what I mean? Like,
wardrobe,
and I'm like, but they're afraid for the wardrobe person.
Yeah.
But for Kareem, it's like, oh, just pat it on the back. I'm not gonna pat a grizzly on the back. That's like, but it was hilarious because when the bear's like, when you see a bear holler on TV or whatever, it's you just have to picture an 80-year-old woman standing beside the bear going like, smile for the camera, Barney. Smile. They love you, Barney. Smile. And then the bear's going, ah, with its face. It was amazing, right? It was pretty amazing to watch the bear work. But then, midway through, the bear got ornery, as happens. We know this happens on set.
The bear's a pro, but sometimes...
So they had to put the bear away because he started throwing desks and stuff. Part of that was like, he was supposed to like kind of push over boxes and stuff, but he started throwing desks.
Nice.
Right? And like being like an angry bear. So they're like, oh, let's bring in the backup bear. I'm like, there was a backup bear? There's two bears? Like, nobody said any of this at the beginning. So they bring in the backup bear. We kind of finished the bear's like spots, but like the only thing that was keeping any of us safe from this bear just like starting to throw people was a 90-year-old woman just going like, who's a good bear, lift, push. Oh, that's a happy bear. It was like the craziest. And I think I got like $300 that day. You know what I mean? It was just like the silliest day.
And they always have the best names. Like, I worked with a bear named Bam Bam. Actually, no, there was Bam Bam and Bonkers.
That's
Bonkers
cute.
was he was a gem.
Yeah, animals. Anytime you work with animals on set, I had a monkey one time that they told me you can't stare directly into its eyes,
No,
and
you
on
can't.
set, they're like, "Get the monkey to stare into the camera. Can you just snap your fingers?" And I'm like, "I'm not getting that."
No.
And I got put in an elevator with the monkey, and the monkey, as soon as I got in the elevator, just went like, was just like straight
get
into
right
my
in their
eyes,
eyes,
like
yeah.
look, and I'm like staring at the ceiling,
no.
and I'm in like it's in like a 4
That's
foot by
funny.
4 foot space with a monkey and his trainer, and the monkey's wearing a diaper, just like grilling me, and I'm like, this monkey wants to fight. Anyways, animals.
I walked out into the hallway during Titan season 2,
Right.
and there was a French bulldog riding a scooter, and I lost my mind.
That sounds adorable.
I just walked out. I go, yes! I'm so glad I just walked out here. And the 2 trainer girls are like, ah! And I saw them. I worked on Titans this past season, and they were training. Crypto is the dog that's obviously on set for them. But I said, is the Frenchie with the scooter here? And they're like, you remember? I'm like, how could I forget?
That's adorable.
It was amazing, yeah.
That sounds much better. Like, I never got bears, there was
if your
no...
bear got on a scooter, that'd be pretty impressive.
It's
That'd be
true.
Pretty impressive.
It's
yeah.
true. Actually, I always questioned the phrase or the saying, as fun as a barrel full of monkeys.
Yes.
Because I'm like, a barrel full of monkeys
Sounds like a
doesn't sound that fun.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It sounds like animal abuse, really. Like if it sounds pretty negative. One monkey, maybe. Like a monkey on his own.
Yeah.
If he's beside the barrel on his own accord, fine.
Yeah.
He's
He
just
wants to
playing
chill
around
by
with the
a
barrel.
barrel.
I can
Yeah.
picture that. But it's a diminishing returns. One barrel, like to one monkey max. Like, any more than one monkey, and it just feels like a lot of gnashing teeth and duty being thrown. You know what I mean?
For sure. You're going to get pitched by a company you work with very soon to do a monkey spot. A monkey and a barrel spot.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I'm, it's not positive.
That's
Diminishing.
it. Yeah. So any more? You got any plugs? You got anything coming up?
I don't know. I'm on a Marvel versus DC comedy show tonight. This is not going to be out by tonight. So that's completely irrelevant. I do stand up in and around Toronto. In terms of content that I have coming out, I am launching a bunch of channels, but I'm not ready to talk about them necessarily until they launch. So you can just kind of... I'm even thinking about changing my Instagram handle, so I don't even know if I should toss that out there, whatever. But
Cool.
Swell camera guy, you can look up Swell content. If you want a website that stays like just exactly where it is, like you can set your watch to it. There's that, but you can reach out for any of that. And then there's what else do? I do all kinds of stuff. It doesn't matter. Look me up, Kareem Hassanien. If you can spell that right on the first try and find me, then I know that it's real and that we actually do want to connect. You know what I mean? That's it. Look me up, Kareem Hassanien, everywhere in the world. I don't know. I don't got anything to plug.
Awesome, man.
Like, plugging implies that I'm doing things like in a positive,
Well, going back to a point where
just donate to somebody. Do that. Do that instead of looking at me. Do something good in the world. You don't whatever.
Quickly going back to a point you were making earlier about we both feel like there's still more to do. We're still going to keep going. But it is funny how we were talking to Pat Maloney and all three of us were talking about what we were doing, and we all kept going, that's amazing, man. That's so awesome. And to us, it feels like small potatoes. I'm just an LED installer.
Yeah.
You're working with amazing brands all over the world. Pat has produced two of the best, working with CNN, producing documentaries and about topics that he and I have been talking about for years. So
it's true. Nobody's happy in this industry. But I agree. I think gratitude is really important in this industry, and I need to listen to that a little bit more myself. But it's important to just enjoy the things that you have done and then kind of take those wins and then just kind of keep. The biggest thing I've learned is to keep you like moving them forward, right? Like
Yeah.
keep the thing that you just did and show that to everybody, and then that'll get you your next thing that's exciting and fun to do, you know? Gratitude. Just be great. If you're working, that's a huge win. It's
Huge.
a big win, you know?
Absolutely.
Especially these days, so.
Yeah. Sweet, man. Well, thanks for doing this. I
Thanks.
really appreciate
Yeah.
it. What a good episode, eh? Kareem's such a fun character. Like I said, he's been one of my best friends for a long time. We've known each other now. You know, I said almost 15 years. We're going on 17 years at this point, which is just wild. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad we're continuing to do this. I'm glad I'm continuing to upgrade equipment and trying to make the show better for you guys. I'm going to try and be really consistent. God, I hope I can get one of these out a week. I'm so crunched for time, but I think I can make it happen. And as long as you guys keep sticking around and are interested, I'm going to keep doing it. We got great guests coming up really soon. I hope you guys come back. This has been awesome. I'm really appreciative. And I got some shows coming up, and I'd love for you guys to come out next week. February 13th, I am running a show at Comedy Bar. It's my show. It's the one that I try and do every month. It's called the McNarly Comedy Show. We got some amazing comics on that. February 14th, I'm on Underground Comedy with Puff Mama. That's at Comedy Bar as well. On the 15th, I'm running a show at Tall Boys on Bloor. The show is called Comedy Mashup. We got some great comics on there. They're going to be doing both riffing as well as their own material. It's going to be a really fun show. And then, of course, on February 19th, we are back at Comedy Bar with another Cinematic Calamity, the actual comedy show. This is a show where comics get on stage, comics who work in film get on stage and tell you crazy stories from working on set. Kareem will be back on the show. Kareem, who you just watched, he is going to be on that show. He was on the first one. You saw some clips from the first ever Cinematic Calamity back in 2020, which is insane. It was one of the first shows I ran after COVID. But Kareem's going to be back. He's going to be telling a whole new batch of stories. It's going to be a fun time. So tickets for the Comedy Bar stuff, comedybar.ca. Also, if you go to my Instagram, the links are in my bio. And same thing with the Tall Boys show. God, I'm like losing my mind here. The Tall Boys show is February 15th. Tickets are available at Eventbrite. That is also in the link in my bio and my Instagram. At the end of this, you'll see all my Instagram handle, my Facebook, all that stuff, all the socials, all the stuff, everywhere you can be. I'm trying to be. I really appreciate you guys staying and watching the whole episode. Let's do a little call to action. I'm going to ask that you guys comment who you think was the best actor this year, best performance by an actor or actress this year, and we'll compare it to the Oscars on the next episode. I really appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out with me. Big thanks again to Kareem Hassanien for being on the show, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks, you fucking rockets.